Let's take a look at question number 1. It says, investigate the result of a positive integer plus a positive integer. Okay, so now how do we go about answering this question? Now what we want to do is to investigate the result of. In other words, how do we describe this situation and the outcome that it will give us? Okay, so when a positive integer is added to a positive integer, what sort of outcome is it going to give us? That is what we want to look for. Now, to try and do that, let's try and think of some examples. So, a positive integer with another positive integer, how about we use this example of 4 and 3? So, if we add 4 and 3, that will give us, obviously, 7. Okay, so we can say, oh, it gave us another positive integer. Let's try and do some more examples. So, let's try 6 and 8. If we add 6 and 8 together, we will get 14. Oh, another positive number. Okay, let's try one last example. 3 and 7. So these are again two positive integers. If we add them together, we get 10. So what have we seen so far? Oh, all these results are positive numbers. Okay, then the result of what we have here will be always positive. Okay, so this is the sort of thing that we want to try and answer these questions. Okay, so we're trying to describe the outcome. Okay, so in this case, it is always positive. Let's try and move on to question number 2. Okay, we have, again, investigate the result of. Now this time we got a positive integer, okay, plus a negative integer. Okay, we're going to try and find out what kind of outcome will that give me. Again, let's try and think of some examples. So, a positive integer and a negative integer. Let's try and use, let's say, positive 4 added to negative 7. Okay? So, what will that give me? It will give me a negative 3. So in that case, we got a negative number. Let's try another example. We'll try 9 added to negative 6. Okay? So what will that give me? Oh, we have a positive number. Let's try one last example here. Okay, we have a positive number as 5 and the negative number as negative 5. Okay, if we add these two together, we get 0. Okay, so when we add a positive integer to a negative integer, we can get a negative number, a positive number, or we can even get 0. Okay, so these the outcome of this can be positive, negative, or 0. Okay, so that's how we approach a positive integer added to a negative integer. Okay, let's try and move on to question number 3. Investigate the result of a negative integer plus a negative integer. So we have two negative integers added together this time. But again, let's try and use examples to try and figure it out. So two negative numbers, negative 3 added to negative 7. Let's see what that will give me. So what we have here is negative 10. Oh, so we have a negative number this time. Let's try and think of another example. We have negative 2 and negative 6. Now the sum of those will give me negative 8. Let's try and think of another two sets of negative integers. Another example can be negative 1 added to negative 5, which will give me negative 6. So what do we have here? We have only negative numbers for all these outcomes. So when a negative integer plus a negative integer will give me a number that's always negative here. Okay, so this is the interaction between a negative integer and a negative integer. Always negative. Okay, so now that we know that, let's try and move on to a little bit more of an applications question. Okay, question number 4. David's bank account was negative $24, meaning he was $24 in debt. Now, he deposited $110 into his account. The question is, find his balance now. Okay, so a couple of terminologies that we need to know is in debt. Now, debt means that I owe the bank some money. Okay, so if I'm in debt, in my bank account, it can show up as a negative number like this. Okay, so this means I'm in debt. Now, another word, deposited. Now, deposit means I'm going to put some money into my account. Okay, so it's going to be, my account's going to go up by how much I deposit. So how do I describe this situation, what I have here? So his account was negative $24, and then he put in, okay, or in other words, he deposited $110. So just like this, okay? So if we add these two together, then we can find his balance. So we have a negative integer added to a positive integer. If we want to do this without using our calculator, one easy method to do is to just split this 100 into 110. Okay, let's try and add those two numbers together. We have 76. And then let's just add the 10. And then we get $86. So his balance now is $86. Okay, so one thing to take away from here again, please don't forget, in debt means I owe the bank some money. So in my bank account, I will have a negative balance like this. Okay, and another word, deposited. So deposit meaning I'm going to put some money into my account, okay, which is going to raise it up a bit. Okay, so this is how we answer these sort of questions.